Welcome everybody. We're here at Grumen Barber Shop. We're gonna have a little barbershop talk tonight. I'm here with Javi, here with Alex. It's crazy. I mean, I've been coming to Grumen since 2019, so right before the pandemic. It's been 3 years. I was back at the old shop across the street. But yeah, it's crazy. And I've been with Alex for probably about like 4 or 5 years now. When you were at the shop over on Sunset, around there. And then he came over to Grumen, and obviously I was at Yankee Barber Shop too. That's where I met you. But how did you guys, both of you guys, get into cutting hair, and how did you guys become partners?
All right, so I mean, for me, I'm sure a lot of the same as Alex, but I started cutting my friend's hair at the backyard. That was the introduction to cutting hair, and I remember going to a local barbershop, and I had messed up one of my friend's hair. So I would beg my mom for $10 so I can take him to the shop. And when we got to the shop, the owner of the shop was like, "Hey, who cut his hair?" And he said, "Oh, he did." So the owner said, "Oh, you did? Well, you finished the haircut." So he propped me up there and gave me the machine, and I started cutting the guy's hair for the first time there at the shop. And lo and behold, the guy said, "All right, so you start working tomorrow." And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "No, you're crazy. I have a job, man. I work at a pet. I work at a pet shop. I'm making like $200 a week. There's no way." And he goes, "Look, man." He's like, "Look, man. If you don't make $200 a day, I'll give it to you the rest out of my pocket." Wow. And I was like, exactly. I was like, wow. I'm 16. Yeah. $200 a day. You serious? And the guy was serious, man. I called the pet shop and I go, "Hey, I'm not going in." I quit and started working on Sunday, man. And, probably made like 150, 160. And I told the guy, "Hey, look, just keep the rest, man. I'm good with this." And that was the beginning of my barbershop career, and it was the same shop. I think Alex probably got one of his first breaks out of. And, it's probably 20 plus years.
Your stories, and it's funny how, like, even when you were in the old shop with Chris, how, like, a lot of you guys met each other from, it's almost like sports in a way. Yeah. Like, you guys were at one point maybe not together, but through the same team in a way. Yeah. You get what I mean? Like, you guys were in the same shop, so you guys are familiar with each other. And in school, and then sometimes like you end up like you guys are now linking up later on. But yeah, Alex, you were in that same shop.
Well, I remember Javi, he started working probably about a couple years before I even worked at the shop. And, I was kind of dabbling in the backyard, but it was never, it was just, I was intrigued by it. And then, I go to the shop and, you see the barbers and they're like superheroes to you, because, there's these cool guys, they're hooking everybody up, and, you see them and you're like, just these guys, all these characters and all these, and I'm sure you guys get the same type of, when you, just anywhere in any type of, when you see a bartender or someone I went in and, it was humbling because, it was like, I remember I first started the haircut and I didn't even put the cape on that's how backyard I was. I started cutting and, and it was, "Hey, put the cape on." I was so nervous. And I got the job, and that was the start. And, the journey, started from there, and it was, it's been great. It's been good to me,
How's that experience? Like, I can't only imagine, like, you were just saying, like, that experience with, like, that first client. You get that first client, and you're like, all right, this is it. Like, I better not mess this guy up, or he's going home with a really bad haircut.
Well, at the shop is a little nerve-wracking, similar to your job in a sense, like where it almost felt like if you have an audience looking at the shop, like when you're at your house, it was just you and your buddy. Yeah. So that was cool. So you have to really more ignore now the people waiting in the waiting area, just looking at you. So that's what was kind of scared me more at first when I first started cutting hair with the first client. I was used to cutting between me and my boy. We were just hanging out at the house. It was cool. But, when I would look over my shoulder and I see 4 or 5 clients just staring at you, like, and you're like, okay, what are these guys looking at? What do they want from me, And that was more of the tricky part for me than so much the one-on-one with the client. I was used to that because of the house, you know, the backyard there with your boys. But when you know you had like a mom like staring you down where you're cutting the kids' hair, you know, and you're like, okay, you know, like should I talk to them? Should I, you know, that was the part that got awkward at first, but and you start learning.
Did you did you ever get nervous, or do you still get nervous actually when you go and cut the client's hair?
Oh, you know, I nervous. I don't think, but like maybe like all of us, we're all we question ourselves sometimes, or maybe I could be a little nicer, and it's funny you mentioned that. I've been working on that lately. Just trying to be a little, try not to put so much pressure on myself, and just try to be more calm but yeah, like the nerves, it doesn't matter. Like you come to a new shop and whether in competition or you're gonna have that nerve, but then like you gotta be like, hey, get a grip of yourself. Like this is what you do. Yeah.
It's your craft.
And I mean, like, let's say you go, because for us, like the way it works, it's not like you go sign an app. You give a resume, and you go to a shop. You gotta show the shop what you could do. You display your thing, and you get so yeah. I believe we all kind of go through that at times, but
now I'll tell you a funny story. So when I was growing up, I never went to a barbershop. My mom would always take me to a hair salon with her. So then when she told me about Alex, it was about time. Like I started going to a barbershop. I started getting facial hair. I needed someone to trim my beard. So when I met Alex at Yankee Barbershop, so Alex is he's very detailed in his work. So I remember that first time, like I get home and I tell my mom, "Oh, this guy's like Picasso, bro." He's moving the chair and shit. Like he was just like everywhere. I'm like, yo, this guy's so detailed. Like the place we went to, like I was never getting that sort of treatment. So I was like, yo, this guy is like an artist. Like, and it's cool, like to see him do it. It really is like cutting hair and being a barber. It's like a work of art. It's a type of art.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool experience. Even now, like it's just a place where like you can come, you can hang out, talk. Me and Alex usually we talk about golf for like an hour.
Yeah, just about.
And maybe like 2% of like other stuff, but mostly golf.
Yeah.
But man, like how did you guys? So when you were at Grumen already on the old shop across the street, and you were at Sunset. How did you guys link up and become partners? And for the rest of the guys in the shop, how did you guys all come together?
Well, I have a couple of funny stories. It's not so funny, but I just wanted to say like one thing with Alex. Like I've been around Alex cutting hairs, like I've said, like about almost 20 years. So I've seen him like grow. And you were asking about the nervous thing and all that. And I remember Alex like being a little more nervous in the beginning, but this guy's a professional. Like he's a major league barber. He's not no nervous. Like this guy literally, like you said, makes it look like an art. Like at this point, this guy's like at an artist level for real. This guy's not really getting too nervous. There's not much. I mean, I haven't seen a haircut yet in the last 5 years that has made him nervous. Let's be real here, But if anything, it's more like it's a challenge. This guy's at we've already gotten into a little bit of another level. We're very experienced. We've been like the shops that we came from. It was like back-to-back haircuts. All different type of haircuts back to back. There was no waiting. There was no appointments. It was just like, let's go. You got to cut hair all day, nonstop. So like we learned a lot during those times. And so me and Alex have been always together and apart and back and forth. So when we opened that shop, I mean, I've always wanted Alex to be working with me. I've always loved working around Alex. So I know the talent that he brings to the table. So, when I got the opportunity to talk to him and say, Alex, like come on the team, man, let's go, and then, honestly, when he said, yeah, I was like, yes, like I got, having Alex on our team is a blessing because this guy's talented, so that, I mean, it was as simple as that, it just took a little convincing. I'm like, Alex, we're doing a good thing here, man. We're doing, I know you're going to be happy with us, man. But when he came over, I mean, so far I feel like it's been well, time is flying, it's been like 4 years already, and we're having a great run, It's cool. Like we've, I don't want to go on and on, but it's like these seasons come in our barber careers. And like Alex has been in and out of these different seasons of my barbering career. We've been able to share like these different times in our life, and as kids barbers, and then as middle-aged barbers, and now we're like the old guy barbers, starting to like. So we're like we've gone through all these stages. Like we've gone apart and back together, but we've been there throughout the these different sections of our life, man. And it's cool. It's cool to be able to do life with our friends and work, but we're almost like big kids,
All right, so let's talk some sports. Javi, I know you're into combat sports like boxing, UFC.
Yeah.
I think you go to the Tropical Park
Yes, I do.
boxing club.
Yeah.
I know sometimes there's one time I came in here and I saw Javi with a black eye. I'm like, yo, this guy just fought Mike Tyson. So how's that been, man? Like, how does that work? Going to because I've heard of the Tropical Park boxing club, but I don't know how it works, like how you join. Yeah. So explain to me, like, how does that?
Well, I'll give you a quick funny story.
Okay.
The grand opening of here. I haven't gotten a black eye for almost a year. Grand opening, the day before I go to a boxing gym, I catch a black eye. So for the grand opening of this barbershop, I had a nice big shiner, So it never fails, the timing, with my black eyes. But yeah, man, no, that park is awesome. The program there is awesome. That program has been there for, before I was born, it's been over 50 years, I think, plus. And they have a cool little program, especially for the kids. They have a really good kids program. The coach, Nene, he's coaching me now, and he's a great coach for the kids. He's an awesome coach. And, but I got into the fighting. I started with MMA, and I've always found it curious. I got into my fair fights in high school, and I've always been interested in the combat sports and all that. So I don't know. I just decided to kind of get kind of serious with it and learn how to really do it. And life went another way, and I was karting, and I was busy with that. But as I got older, I was like, it's something I really want to do. So I got into it, deep, and I got a coach, and the guy's like, look, I think you can have a professional fight. And I go, all right, let's go for it, And I went all in, and I had a pro fight, man. I did a pro.
Didn't know this about
you, man. I did a pro boxing match, and I won it, and it was a great experience, man. One of the best. It was a great experience. I wish honestly I would have started younger or been into it to compete younger. So my coach always says that he feels like if he would have got me younger, we would have done something, And I think a lot of it with sports, and a lot of it is like when the right coaches or people or mentors come into your life, it's I don't like to say the word luck, but it's when God puts the right person into your life at the right time, plus your efforts and all of those little, that perfect little combination comes together, then kind of takes. I didn't have that happen to me, because when I found this guy, I was already 30 something, But he was like the perfect guy. He encouraged me the right way. I'm like, I can do this. He gave me the right encouragement. He just gave me the right stuff. I was just like, yeah, I guess I can do this. He says I can do it, and I trust him, and he knows what he's talking about. So if he says I can do it, I can do it. And I started sparring guys, serious, and it was cool. Man, it was a really cool experience.
Did you win that pro fight?
Yeah, I won it, man. It was a technical knockout. It was a technical knockout, man, and it was a great experience. Obviously one of the best experiences, one of the best experiences of my life, to be able to, wrap up for a fight, and like as real as it gets. You're going in there with like 10-ounce gloves, and the other guy, and it's cool. Like I remember just that guy hit me like 3-4 punches, and you have all this adrenaline, and then it's the adrenaline dump. So all of it goes away, and you're like, oh, you feel like a blob, And I'm like, what is this? I never experienced something like that. I played sports my whole life. I played baseball. I played, baseball somewhat high level, but since you played it since you're a little kid, you don't realize what that feels like, that dump. But when you're in a fight, that's a whole nother level of being scared. You have like you and another guy in that ring, like someone's gonna come out hurt. Yeah, someone's gonna come out hurt. So. And again, you fight in the street, but it's in the moment, boom, boom, boom. But there, since you're prepping for it for so long, like you build this whole thing up, and so man, that adrenaline all left me, and I was just like spaghetti legs. I was like, oh, what is this? This guy hasn't even hit me. I'm already like feeling like I'm gonna get knocked out. I knocked myself out, and I go to the corner first round, and he's like, ¿Qué te pasa? You know, and I go, no sé. And he goes, eso no es nada. Eso es la orina. He goes, dale. He put water down my back. He's like, no te sientes, dale, tú estás bien. Boom, slaps me like 2 times. I turn around, there's like, whoosh. You know, and I'm like, I'm fine, you know, and, you know, I come out and, and you know, like, you just gather yourself back together, you know, like, and it's just as real as it gets, you know, and it's like, boom, and you go out and, you know, and you do what you trained for. You know, you train and it just comes out. You just rely on your training, you know, and you just step forward, put your hands up, and
defend yourself.
And go for it. No, and it's when you train hard as in fighting. I mean, I guess in all sports, you know, it becomes like a mechanical thing. Like, you know, not that you don't think about it, but you know, when you're playing sports at a high level, not that I was at a high level, but I trained hard. Right. You know, like I'm sure like these guys are not like, I just, you know, like they have to think about catching the ball and passing. It's just like boom, boom, boom. They're reacting, you know, they're not thinking like it's second nature to them. Like cutting hair for us, you know, like Alex doesn't, you see a haircut and it's like boom, 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 we start cutting, we're talking, we're not thinking like I need to do this and I plan. No, it's just like boom, it just happens, you know. And when I stepped forward, it was like the coach had trained me. It was just, my hands just started flowing, boom, 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 got hit, blocked, let's go. And it all just happened, you know.
Yeah. Staying with you, Alex, we talk a lot of golf, man. Come to the shop, we talk a lot of golf. Now I'll tell you a story. Yeah. I used to hate golf. I thought it was the most boring thing. I thought it was an abuelo sport. Like you had to play golf when you're retired. It's this guy. This guy right here.
He got you in it.
Yo, you ever swung a golf club before? And I was like, no, not really. And he would talk about golf or whatever. And then I was like, you know what? Like one day I was just thinking to myself, like, you know what? I mean, I played a lot of sports in my life except golf. Maybe I should try it out. Yeah. So I went to a range, and I wasn't any like, you know, people were like, we go talk golf. I'm like, oh, that's not real golf. I went to a range, and then I was like, this is pretty cool. Yep. And then after that, at this point, because my dad doesn't play golf. And once that bug, like, he got me to that bug and it started biting me, I started telling my dad, hey, I kind of like golf. Like, I'm playing golf. My dad was like, hey, man, like, did Alex talking to you or something? Like, kind of, a little bit. And I got my own golf clubs now, and now it's been me. Like, I'm playing golf every week.
They were in Hawaii. Yeah. They went on vacation. His dad told me the story, and you know, just think about it. They're playing golf in a golf course that is part of a volcano. Yeah. You know, so like all the undulations and they have he's showing me photos, you know. Like I play golf here in Miami. I would love to play like something like that, but it's just, you know, it's the only sport that, you know, it's the only sport where you could actually play the same place that the pro play. Yeah. You know, because, you know, you look at baseball, you look at basketball, you know, even boxing, you know, like, you know, for you to step in one of those places and do the same thing that, you know, so it's pretty, you know, you could play the greatest courses. Like right now we got the Masters going on. I'm rooting for Tiger. And, but yeah, it's cool to see. And I'm sure with anything, like someone that does it, someone that's very green, get they call it the bug, bit by the bug. And then all of a sudden you see him there, you see him with the clubs, and then you see him practicing. And it was the same thing with me. It was just an instant thing. It was just like, this is old people stuff, you know? And I went with my dad, and, you know, me and Javi have similar stories. But it was a time that I was, you know, dabbling with like very hard things, and you know, and I just kind of like, it kind of got me off, like it distracted me, and I took the place of the old thing that I was doing, and it became golf, you know. And my dad at first was like, "You're crazy! You go to the range 2 times a day, 3 times a day." I had blisters all over my hand, and it was just the obsession of seeing the ball fly, and I need to get better, and I need to, you know. So I'm sitting around the cart, and I'm just there, and I'm like, "Oh, this is boring, man." And I'm like, after like the 3rd hole, you know, I'm like, come on, man, let me see what the heck this is, you know. And I step up there, and I hit a shot, and the ball goes up in the air, and you know it's a hard thing. Yeah. And the ball sticks to the green. I'm like, you see? This is easy. And he goes, do that again. And I go, all right, whatever. And the ball doesn't even move. It goes, you know, he could relate with this. And it was just, that's what triggered it. Because I thought it was easy, and I saw how difficult it was.
It's mental.
So, yeah, man.
We gotta get a camera crew out there to see Alex, man.
Let me tell you.
He's like, he probably turns into like this.
We'll do it.
He probably gets like turns into like this whole different guy, you know. I can really picture him like his little preppy, you know, like
I'm the opposite.
he goes from a barber to like this golfer.
I'm the opposite. I'm the one with the shirt tucked out, and you know, I'm just there, and the people
The
are like, "Who the heck is
golfer.
this guy? Who the heck is this guy?" And then when they see you play, they're like, "Oh shit, yeah, this guy can actually play." You know, like,
Wait, let me tell you. This is how I know he plays too much golf. I was telling him one time, you know, I saw this guy at the course we played at before. It's called Briar Bay.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know, it's this old guy that I know I see there. And as soon as I said that, Alex goes, "Oh yeah, that's Brian."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Brian.
"How do you know this
Brian.
guy?" And he's like, "This guy invited me to like, I don't know, it's like the Moose Club or something like that."
yeah, it was just, it's all
Well,
these old guys.
I'll vouch for this. I know when Alex feeling stressed for lunch, he'll go hit some balls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, and come back relajadito. It's like I'm like, this guy must have got hit some. He goes, whacks a couple balls at the range, or goes shoot a couple holes, and he comes back ready to cut hair. Like if nothing bothers him after that, you know. I know, like, all right, this guy. I've already accepted that. He's like, I'm gonna go hit some balls. I'll be like, all right, cool. I'll see you in a little while. He takes off, goes hit a couple balls, and comes back, and he's like, all in peace.
He's always prepared. I was here on Tuesday getting my cut, and he was like, yeah, you know, like I have a break in between. I think I'm gonna go hit some golf balls. And I was like, hey man.
He comes back floating.
Yeah.
You know.
But that's awesome, guys. How that both, you know, those two sports for you guys, you know, takes that stress off of you guys.
Yeah, very cool.
So one of the first things when customers come into Grumen Barbershop and they take a seat on that couch right over there, they'll see a Bible verse right above the door, and I think that's super for people who are of faith, or even people who are not of faith. You know, maybe they're going through something in their life and they sit there and they see that. I think that's super motivational and inspiring. And you know, what inspired you to put that?
So that's a really good story behind that, and I mean, we're not gonna get into the deep story because I mean we don't have enough time we'd have the whole new podcast for that one, but. But the short and the short version of it is like you know, we opened the shop, and I've been, you know, getting deeper into faith, and you know, just following God, and I really, you know, in the old location we had little things scattered here and there, but I was like, I want to find something really like that meant something here, you know, and a good Bible verse that I wanted to find that would really, you know, stand out, and kind of like. And started praying about it, and you know, I couldn't find something that just really made sense. And then one day I'm there at the service, and you know, pastor just, you know, starts preaching on this one. You know, it was Jeremiah 29:11, and it just hit me. You know, I was like, this is it. This is the one that's going up in the shop. You know, and the cool thing, like what you're saying, is like people sit down here and they look up, and you know, they see the, you know, the plans, you know, with the verse, the plans that the Lord has for you, or you know, and they look at it, and people just come up to you and they're like, you know, I love the verse, you know, on the thing, and or that verse really hit me, and man, I mean, like I live by that verse, you know, like, you know, the plans that God has for me are to prosper and for better, and you know, and that's been how we've achieved what we've achieved, you know, of like I really, again, so I don't want to make a long story long, but you know, like we were at a little shop over there, which was a blessing to begin with. Again, we don't have time for the story of how we got there, but that was a blessing to begin with, you know, and that little shop grew and grew, you know, and then by no doing of mine specifically, you know, we were able to move to this amazing location. I mean, like, you know, look around here, like, you know, beyond our wildest dreams, were we ever gonna, you know, have a shop of this magnitude, you know, and we're from humble beginnings, you know, we're not, you know, I'm not a guy that I can say that my family comes from money, or, you know, we have everything we need, but we don't necessarily come from money. And I know Alex, the same thing, you know, we're hardworking guys, and our family has been hardworking. So this is really a blessing, like from God. Like I remember standing at that door right there, seeing the for rent sign, and I just grabbed the doorknob and the handle, and I said, God, if this shop is for us, then you do your will, you know? And here we are, you know? So, it gets me a little bit emotional because never did I expect that he was, I was trusting, but my faith was growing, and he outdid himself. You know, he truly outdid himself from the design, the layout. I mean, I had no plans. I'm talking about, when you talk about zero plans, again, like we started a little while ago, just even Alex being able to come back into my life and working with me and all of that. I look back at all of that and I'm just like God is so good, and he's working, you know, and in the little things, in everything we're doing in here, you know. And again, I don't want to end up making it a long story at the end, but it's just he's been so good with us. And so, you know, the scripture that we have up there is, you know, definitely talks about everything we're doing here. You know, that little scripture just is what we're doing here. You know, it's trusting God, and the plans that he's had for us have been, you know, nothing but big plans. You know, no matter how little my thinking is, he's always, you know, showing off in my life, you know, and it's been amazing, man. So
now, before we sign off, I want to say thank you. Appreciate you guys for coming on here. This was really fun.
Thank you.
I can't wait to continue coming in here and talking more golf and which we gotta go out to the court soon. But seeing how this,
I'm down. It might be a natural. You never know.
and seeing how this continues to grow. All right, guys, this was awesome. Grumen Barbershop, come check it out. It's an awesome experience.
Thank you, guys.